okay, this is a big leap, and we don't need to go into this, but on the right, I feel like that version of that, where they're like, I saw it on TV, therefore it's real, I'm going to regurgitate, is like, I read it in a 2,000-year-old document, I'm going to regurgitate it if it's real. Well, how can
What are you talking about?
The Bible, the Christian Bible. How can you verify the authenticity of that? I can't.
You can't?
No one can, because it's 2,000-year-old text. No one can. It's not like if CNN came on, was
you're
like,
conflating
they
some
just
very
said something,
different
and I'm
things.
like, how can I verify it?
You're conflating some very different things, because the fact is, the right isn't just Christian, and
exactly.
There's agnostics and anything. So when we're talking about the left and their adherence to an orthodoxy which is false, and then you bring up Christianity specifically, it just sounds like you're insulting Christians.
No. Anybody that believes faith without evidence is like, I think, is a problem.
But you see, you're entering. You're entering seventh grade.
Oh, you have blind faith. You have actual evidential faith. You have all sorts of different types of faith.
You are asking
blind faith is a problem.
And you are asking like a 16-year-old's introduction to philosophy question about what is to know.
I'm sorry. What? No. What?
Yeah,
I brought my Bible.
When you were an adolescent human being studying basic concepts of philosophy, one of the first things you ask, or you are asked, is, what is knowledge? How do you know what you know? And then you learn the famous quote, the only thing that I know is that I know nothing. So when you say to people, why do you just believe in the Bible? The same question is asked to you. What makes you think oxygen is real? You read it in a book and you just believe it. You're believing things without doing an investigation or checking the evidence.
I'll take the scientific method over a 2,000-year-old book.
When have you
and
done
I'll also take the scientific method over something CNN tells me.
When have you done it?
Done what?
When have you actually looked through an electron microscope to check to see if there's oxygen?
I'd love to do that.
You'd love to, but you haven't, right?
Ozone, dude. It's 3 O's.
Have you ever?
It's the only element with its own zone.
Ian, have you ever looked through an electron microscope at a one-dimensional?
I've never looked through an electron microscope.
So then how do you know graphene's real?
I trust the scientific method. That's my faith.
No, you don't.
My faith in evidence.
You've never done the scientific
proof.
method for
You could
graphene.
say it's proof.
When have you proved it?
I haven't. The scientific community before me.
Who's that?
Richard Feynman. Who else? I mean,
so you talk.
Thousands and thousands of people have claimed evidence of oxygen's existence.
And you've seen it.
I've listened to the evidence from people that have done the research for.
I've listened to the evidence from people who said that Jesus walked on water.
The evidence from the people, they said they read it in a book that it happened. That's like saying the evidence from the people that heard a guy on CNN say that it happened.
No, I met someone who said they had a vision. God told him it happened.
Okay, if a guy said he had a vision of something on CNN, I still wouldn't believe him.
You are choosing to believe people who haven't shown you any evidence.
No, the opposite. I do not believe things without evidence.
When have you seen the evidence of graphene? Never.
All over the internet?
Never seen it.
I mean, you've
never seen it.
I have. That's evidence of graphene when you look on papers and you read about it and you look at imagery of it online, and that's all evidence.
What do you think the Bible's made of?
Paper.
Yeah, and what's in the Bible? There's words. That's the same kind of evidence that you're talking about, giving you evidence for graphene.
I'm talking about the scientific method.
You
did not do it.
No, I know. You don't need a scientist to believe in the scientific method.
You don't need a Bible to believe in Jesus.
I require evidence, some evidence.
No, you don't.
Evidence-based, leading towards proof.
No, Ian, you don't.
In order to believe it. I cannot force myself to believe something I have no evidence for. It's impossible for me.
That's not true.
Or it's very, very, very difficult to snap that.
That's false. You know, I know. Because you've never done an experiment to prove the existence of graphene.
That's because there's scientists that do that work for us. You don't want every farmer to have to go look through an electron microscope.
Ian, there are priests who and bishops and cardinals who tell us about Jesus and Christianity.
But they don't have electron microscopes.
Neither do you. And how do you know they do?
No, they don't.
They told me they have prophets.
Okay, fine. A guy told them.
And a guy told you.
Are you saying that this is actual evidence that you would do a journalistic endeavor with?
I'm saying, Ian.
Is that what you're saying?
You have never actually done any experiments, and what you believe is based on someone telling you, trust me, and you saying yes.
It's not random dude being like, hey, there's this thing, dude, trust me.
Pope's not a random dude
scientific
either.
community, and called there's
and the theologian
shitloads
community
of scientific evidence.
Those are the same people those are the same people that said that the COVID shot was going to work, right?
I don't know.
Or that lockdowns
That's
worked
what I was
at
gonna
6 feet
ask Ian.
to slow the spread, or that double masking made sense.
That's not who I follow
Ian,
when I'm talking about graphene. You're talking about Anthony Fauci.
Okay,
No,
let's just pause real quick. I'm just going to say this because there's no reason to go in circles over and over again.
I didn't even want to bring it up to go too deep. It's just that people that believe things
no.
without evidential proof is fucking annoying, man.
Like you.
You have to play both sides of reality.
Like you.
Pick and choose.
You are the perfect example of a person who believes whatever bullshit they heard from some guy on the internet.
Totally untrue, man. Why do you think I'm sitting here?
You've never seen graphene. You've never tested it. You've never looked at an electron microscope. You don't even know it's a single lab.
I've seen graphene. You bought it for me.
How do you know it's graphene?
Well, it said graphene on there. You told me it was graphene.
It was dirt.
Looks like graphene.
I filled up a vial outside and wrote graphene on it.
Sand. It looks like black
dirt.
sand.
I went outside, filled it up, and wrote graphene on it.
Are you lying?
I'm telling you the truth.
So are you going to double down on a lie?
Because
if you're lying right now, you discredited yourself, man.
That bottle that I bought, that was just dirt.
Well, if you're telling a lie, you're discrediting yourself in front of tens of thousands of people.
Did you believe it was graphene?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you told me it was. It said graphene oxide on the side or graphene on the side.
I lied. Best content.
I lied.
Produces.
I mean, Tim, if you're claiming to be a research journalist and you're going to lie and take things and believe things without evidence. I mean, you don't believe this shit. You told me yourself. You
don't call my Bible shit. That's not nice.
It's how offensive.
Got my name on it.
Good Lord, Ian, how dare you,
dude? I'm just evidence-based, bro.
You are not.
Of course I am, dude.
Look, Ian, you lack the understanding of basic knowledge philosophy. I recommend you read these books. There is a famous quote. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. For you to sit here and say, I know what is true and factual proves you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, there are facts.
Like?
This is wood.
Indeed. Agreed.
How do you know?
Because I'm here.
Did you use an electron microscope?
Because I built it.
How do you know it was actual wood, though? Did you test it with an electron microscope?
Because I watched them.
No, you didn't. The answer is no. You didn't. And you believe it's wood.
No, you're actually wrong.
It could be plastic.
I watched them cut
some new chemical they built.
I watched them cut it. I worked with them to put it together.
Wood?
Because I saw it come from the tree, Ian. This is a special.
That's a fucking lie.
No, it isn't.
You saw this table come from a tree?
It's a custom-built table.
This is a custom-built table.
You were told? By who?
No. They built it in front of me.
We're being hilariously hyperbolic.
It's 3 pieces. They brought it in. They had to lift it up over and bring it through because it wouldn't fit through the door. So it had to go through it had to go through it had to go through before the windows were put in. It was brought in 3 pieces. There's a metal frame underneath it. We had these pieces sitting in a building for a year waiting for the construction. I watched them cut the wood into the pieces. I picked up the sawdust and we threw it in a fire pit.
How do you know it was sawdust, Tim?
Because it burned.
Graphene burns too.
Ian?
How do you know it wasn't almost sawdust?
You've never done any experiment.
That's not true. I've done experiments.
On what?
Oh, God, I don't know. Dripped water on a piece of paper to see how it curls.
Okay. So...
What other stuff? I don't know. I have fun with life, I experiment lots.
What is limiting you in understanding reality right now is your arrogance?
No, I don't think so. I think I see a lot of people that are deadened in the mind that just accept things without evidence, and that's concerning to me, no matter where it's coming from.
And I see that in you.
Well, how? What's an example of that?
Okay. Are you breathing?
Not like a silly example. I'm talking about like real stuff.
What are you breathing right now?
Talking about real
Lots of gas.
Talking about real.
What are you breathing?
And oxygen and hydrogen, you name it.
How do you know?
I have faith in the scientific community and the evidence that I've seen.
What evidence have you seen?
Papers. I've had teachers tell me the evidence. We've gone through it in books. I've looked online about it. I read about the nitrogen content in the air. 78% of it, I think, is nitrogen, according to modern science.
So you've actually taken air and you've broken...
No, but I didn't get the electron microscope for the table or for the air.
So you've never actually done an experiment to verify any of the things you were told?
Well, that's an extreme statement, but about
have you ever
the contents of the air? No, I haven't done that.
So why do you believe it's true?
Because there's a preponderance of evidence.
Because someone told you it was?
Many people have, yeah.
Okay, well, there's more people who believe in Jesus than...
I don't care how many.
Then why did you say that?
The quality, and also the quality of the evidence.
What's the evidence?
Of what exactly? Of what's in the air?
Yeah, like what did you read that said oxygen was real? That proved it? That provided evidence?
The periodic table?
That's not evidence. That's a list.
It's a piece of evidence.
It's a list of things.
Which is a piece of evidence.
How does that prove the existence of oxygen?
That, along with all sorts of other experiments where you can see the different colors of oxygen with different lights. You can pull it. We can pull it up and go deep if you want to talk about. If you're questioning science, like let's look at it.
Tell me the evidence. Tell me the evidence. I just told you.
I'm the farmer that believes the scientist in regards to this. I'm not the guy that did the experiment. There's enough people on Earth that do those experiments that we can have faith in science.
What will greatly help you expand your understanding of reality is to recognize you are simply choosing trust. That's it.
I think that's right. A lot of people, with belief, it comes with trust. You have to trust your sources.
When you do the fission experiments and the vacuum experiments, and you actually isolate nitrogen from oxygen and carbon, or you pull carbon from the atmosphere, and you said, I actually built a machine and tested against the gases and was able to extract the carbon into a vial using vacuum technology, then I might say, you've done the work. For now, what you're telling me is I read a bunch of books and they told me it was true, so I believe it.
Chemical vapor deposition, where you deposit like carbon dioxide onto copper in a vacuum.
Have you done it?
No, but they do it at Rice University. I mean, there's different ways to get graphene off of copper. You know,
prophets commune with the Lord all the time.
Oh, well, that's probably true, but that doesn't mean that this is verifiable evidence.
I didn't say it was. I said you are choosing what to believe based on the books you read and telling other people that they're wrong.
I wouldn't say that they're wrong. I'm just concerned with people believing things without evidential proof.
That is like the epitome of my ethos. The corporate press not doing any research, deciding things are true without checking, or intentionally lying to people to spread misinformation. And the fascinating thing to me is that we were told that double masking worked. We were told that 6 feet distance was how you effectively stopped the spread of COVID. And then we learned just recently, actually not super recent, but a year or two ago, they made it up. It was totally made up. Now, how can that be? It was written in books. It was written in scientific papers. They published peer-reviewed journals.
They said it on the news.
Over and over and over again.
It was all bullshit, wasn't it?
Whoa. But they posted evidence.
And it was still bullshit.
But the evidence, Ian.
There wasn't enough.
But the papers, the evidence.
There wasn't enough evidence, man. I didn't believe it.
What do you mean?
I didn't believe 6 feet to slow this. Well, a virus? Are you kidding me?
I'm
you
not
think
saying,
a paper mask is going to stop a virus?
Not saying